Hello, fourth graders. This is the first drawing lesson in a series of lessons about how to draw realistically. We are going to be using a guide from a book called You Can Draw in 30 Days by Mark Kistler. I think this is a great book for us to start with. And I'm going to be teaching the lessons on video here, so get your sketchbook ready. And get a pencil that is sharp. You're going to want to find a blank page in your sketchbook. I recommend you start at the front or at the first available page. And so we can keep a record of our learning, start out by writing today's date and lesson number 1. Today's lesson is the sphere. If you want to decorate those letters, you can. Go ahead and make them look cool. Make them into bubble letters if you want to. Somehow. So the sphere, as you well know, is a form that's three-dimensional. But our paper is flat, two-dimensional. So we're just going to learn how to create the illusion of three-dimensional space in a two-dimensional drawing. You might want to start out by loosening up your fingers a little bit by just doing some loose loops, maybe some tight curls, and maybe just some scribbles. Your sketchbook is meant to be a place where you make some mistakes, so don't worry about making it perfect. Relax a little bit. There's no stress. Now, the first thing we need if we're going to draw a sphere is we need to draw a large circle. Think about making the circle about as big as your fist, maybe just a little bit smaller than my fist. Something nice and big on your paper, and you can draw with the loose pencil. I went around it several times drawing light before I darken the lines I want to keep. So go ahead and draw a nice big circle. That's just a flat shape. That's two-dimensional. It's got height, it's got width. But now it's time to think about creating 3 dimensions. The next thing we need to do is to determine where we want our light to be shining down from. And I'm going to start with the upper right-hand corner. I'm just going to make a little squiggly sun that shines its light down on my sphere. Make sure your light source isn't directly above your sphere. Put it off to a side. If you want to follow along directly with me in the upper right hand corner, that's probably going to be beneficial. Now we're going to have the light shining down, and the first thing we want to do with our light in place is to cast a shadow. Anytime there's a light source, there will be a shadow on the opposite side. So if this is our sun and this is a ball, then not on this side, but over here on this side, opposite from the sun, there will be a shadow that forms on the ground. So go ahead and drop a little shadow in. We call that the cast shadow. C-A-S-T, cast shadow. Now you don't have to write that, but I'm writing it down for your learning. So I've done a little shading with my pencil. I just have a normal number 2 school pencil, like you. That's all we need for most of these exercises. So that's pretty easy, and already you can start to see that our circle is looking like it takes up space in the world. After you've done that with your sun and your shadow, it's time to think about shading the circle. Shade the circle on the opposite side from the light source. We can be real scribbly. We don't have to be perfect. So This is the side that's going to be bright because it's near the light. Opposite to that, we're going to put in some shade. And I'm just doing loose, scribbly lines that go around the contour of this shape. That is going to help define my sphere. If I had just shaved it straight across, it wouldn't show the shape. I'm also making sure it's darkest near the edge here, and it gets gradually lighter as it moves across the shape toward the light. We can redo this with a lighter value as we go across here, lightening up our value until we get all the way white here. So it should be about as black as you can get in this edge of the shape, and about as light as you can get over in this area nearest to the sun. Now, that already looks pretty good, like a three-dimensional form. If you wanted to take a finger, you might be able to smudge that pencil lead a little bit to help even out the shading so you don't see as much of those lines. If you're very careful as an artist, you might want to go back over these lines again and try and hide all of the little scribbles by shading and shading and shading until it looks like a perfectly smooth ball. Mine has a little texture to it right now from all the scribbles. But there's one more thing I'd like you to do as we finish this first lesson, and that is to put the back of the table behind this ball. Imagine your ball is sitting in space on a surface. It could be in the middle of a field, or it could be on a table. Now, behind that ball, we're going to drop our horizon line. From left to right or right to left, we want a line that passes by. And now we can think of this as the sky, and down here this is the surface, the table, the earth, wherever we are. But it makes the drawing feel a lot more like it is in three-dimensional space. So that's the horizon line, and that shows us shading with a cast shadow, and our sphere is overlapping this horizon line. If you want to turn this into a basketball or a piece of fruit, go ahead. That's the first lesson in how to draw realistically.